Well, it's the beginning of the season. Everybody wants to make their equipment better. Let's go over this one thing that can immediately change the way your clubs feel. Make your clubs immediately feel better. Make the performance better. Just give you an all-around good feeling, give you confidence, as a matter of fact, give you confidence in your golf clubs. It's regripping. What happens in a golf round? You have one glove on or none, right? And so you have hand oils. Hand oils get into the rubber. And that rubber is and that oil in there is what makes that grip slick. Then what happens when you go to make a shot, right? And you're one of those guys that carries 2 or 3 clubs out to the ball because cart path only, right? And you go and you have that, and what do you do with the clubs? Well, you just throw them down. So now they've collected dirt. Now they got dirt, they got hand oil. Is anybody wiping them off? If you are, you're in this much of a percentile of the people that really are. Every year, right? Every year you ought to take an inventory of your equipment. That's a video. I'm going to do that. So you take an inventory of your equipment and you look at the condition, right? And first and foremost, it's where the thing that you touch every single time. If you play a lot of golf, chances are that thing's worn, right? Look for the telltale thumbprint on the top. Or if you're a 10-finger guy, maybe on the side, right? Those are the telltale signs. And if you're really, really frugal, how about the fact that you're starting to see the cord underneath that synthetic grip, all right? And it's not cord, it's the underlisting, man. So that's the grip, right? And the grip is what connects you to the club. And you want that confidence. If you feel it slick, you're giving it that. And that makes your swing bad. Because when you're all tense, you can't do your swing. So let's do one. Let's put on a grip. And I'm going to just show you the old school way, what they call old school way, the standard way of putting on a grip. And then that way you can take this and do this at the house. And we'll talk about, I'll put some links and some stuff, some really easy tools like clamps and things like that in order to hold your golf club. And down in the show notes, it's on my Amazon store. They're really easy to get a hold of. They're really simple tools, and we'll talk about it while we're installing it. All right, so what are we doing today? We are installing, forgot my grips. Bob from Cincinnati came over for a fitting, and that's about an hour and 45-minute drive if you're on the east side, longer obviously on the west. And we end up fitting him into a set of Mavericks. All right, the new Maverick. And the new Maverick performed very, very well. And we ended up putting the Catalyst 65 in it. All right, he liked the lighter shaft. And it turns out he's colorblind. Shiny gray freaks him out because of the way it looks. But dull gray looks really good to him. So this couldn't have been a better match made for him. So nice gray look, good performing club. However, he didn't like the standard grip. Hands are a little bit bigger. And so when you fit, you want to make sure everybody talks about the backhand, how it fits in here like this, right? Well, you also want to do the forehand and make sure it's fitting as well. You don't want something that you're out here like this or you're in there squished. And that's the reason why the non-tapered versions of the grips that are coming out are very, very popular, right? Golf Pride started it. They found out from building up the forehand, we'll call that the one that's closest to the hand, the forehand that, they're doing a lot on tour, so why not just make a grip that would do that? And the popularity in that has just exploded, right? The MCC 4 Pluses, now they're into the Tour Velvets. Then you match it up with the Align technology that they have. It's just been pretty good. Well, there's other people doing it now. Wynn's doing it, right, over here. And I believe Lampkin's doing it as well. Now, you could check out the other companies, and all they're going to say is less taper. And okay, right, if that's your grip, then that's your grip. So we're putting on the Mavericks, we're putting on the Tour Velvet, all right, mid-size, and then it's got the Align. All right, it's not an egg shape like some of the rib grips would be. What they've done is they've cut a groove in here and put a different texture and a different durometer of that line in order to give you a feel to align your to line your hands on every one. So that's what we're doing. So what are we going to do? I'm going to, like I said, we're going to put some stuff in the show notes for simple ones. But I'm going to use the Golf Mechanics Professional Gripping Station. Now I did a review on it, it's up over here. And we're going to put it in here, okay? And it's got a little alignment tools here. There we go. All right, so when you're doing any kind of any gripping, you got to have it in a clamp. This kind of clamp, my favorite is a speed clamp. If there was a way I could figure out to put a speed clamp here, this would be perfect in my estimation. So what do, you get this, you get a new clamp so it's nice and solid. You want the toe up so the line's straight up and down, so that you have the middle of your shaft looking here. Now this thing has a little guide that you can use, but I've been doing this for a while. This is not going to get used by me, although there is a trick with that. Alrighty, so what you want to do is you take your grip, there will be a line, which is the cap line, and you line it up there. You come down to the second line, which is right here. That way you don't have as a place to put it at its longest part, so that it's not sticking out when you're doing it and it looks ugly. All right, so we'll set this to the side. We'll get us some tape. And then what we do is we align it to that mark we just made. And the whole idea here is this tape has to be smooth, because on thinner grips, much like the Tour Velvet, if you do anything in the way of a bump or something along that lines, you're going to feel it. And nobody wants to feel that, so you want to make it smooth. Then you cut off the excess, and there you have your tape. Now, we're going to, there's two real different ways of putting it on. One with solvent, and the other one with air, right? This is old school, so we're going to use solvent. The beauty of the Pro model is that you recycle your fluid, and what happened is I ran out, and all you have to do is switch the bottles. It was that simple. What I like doing is I like holding the grip very much like this in a T fashion. However you want to do it, you want to plug the butt hole. You want to plug the hole in the butt. No, you just want to plug the hole in the back end of the grip, and then you squirt enough that you get in there. You want to use a lot of solvent, but you don't need to overflow it. You shake it up so that it coats the inside, and then you run it along the grip so that it makes the tape slick. Now, that's the whole idea of the solvent, making the tape slick. Again, put your thumb over the back end of the butt, slide it up until you feel it seat. And you take off your stuff. Make sure that your alignment and your golf pride is in the same spot. Now, this is where you can use that and use the line if you want. Tap it to seat it. I always check for an alignment just to make sure it's all good. Looks good to me. Now that secret I was telling you is if you can get this thing in here and you just bring it around, you can make sure that your line is straight too by using that line if you truly want to. And the last bit is I like taking a little bit of solvent and then just cleaning it off. And you can tell when your own hand oils are on it. And then you just let it set. And you let it dry. Now the next question is, well, how long before you can use it? We normally apply heat to it to get the activation part of it, so it evaporates the solvent. But in warm temperatures where it's 80, 90 degrees, a couple hours probably. In cooler temperatures, you probably want to go a little longer. If you truly, truly want to be safe about it, just wait till the next day. And then you should be good to go. What's the second method? Well, the second method I can't show you because I don't have the gear with me. However, what it is, it's blowing on a grip. And what that requires is a compressor, the airline, the tool that goes into the back, and it doesn't require the tape, as they say. Now there's a bit of a discussion about that, as whether or not the tape was really needed for the approximate size. Used to be the answer was yes. Now I'm hearing the answer is no. So what you do is you put a little bit of tape at the end as far as a starter because you're blowing it on. You get it started right here, and what you do is you squirt the air to expand the grip. Then as the grip is expanded, you slide it along here, and if you stop, you can just fill it full of more air, fill it full of air, and then just keep going until it seats. And then what you have to do to align it is you have to keep giving it air until you get to your alignment, and then you're done. The pros and the cons of this. The pro is that when you're done gripping, go play golf. The con is that you have air compressor, airline, the tool in order to go do it. That's the con. Old school is everybody knows how to do it. It still takes the same tools as if you were gripping with air, except for now you need tape and you need solvent, which are readily available. And that's it's a reoccurring cost if you're not recycling. So there's pros and cons to each one. This method, we used to do it with a vise clamp and a regular clamp. We did it over a trash can when we first got started, and that's what we did. So let's go over it now. You want to do this at the house. What are you going to do? If you're at the house, normally in a workbench type setup, right? So you have something along this lines here where there's a bench. Normally you would have something in the way of a vise, which is this guy. Now, how do you hold that without marring it and stuff like that? Well, the easiest and simplest is the shaft clamp. All right, they're a couple bucks, and what they do is these ledges sit on top of the jaws just like that, and then when you close the jaws, it grabs the clamp, and so you're relegated to your touch when you put it in here, and you start closing on it. And it really, because it's more heavy duty, it really doesn't take a whole lot of time in order to make that happen. This is just a regular paint tray, right? I've been using one of these for well over 10 years, right? Well over 10 years, because it works, right? So you get it so it's over there, and then that way you can reclaim the solvent. Now, if you don't have the paint tray, turn the vise so that the shaft is sticking out over here, and catch it all in a trash can, and you can catch it that way. Now you're not getting any of your solvent back, but it's the way that it goes. And voila, you're done, and you've done your first golf repair, right? So now that was just the installing part. The removing part's a whole nother issue. So if you want to do a removing, it's gonna take another couple of tools. You're going to need a utility knife, all right, and then you can get one with a hook blade. See the hook blade? So when you get the hook blade, you'll see guys that will take it and they will hold it this way, and they will grab the whole club, and they will do that. That's pretty safe. You're what you want to do is you're keeping the knife away from you. Again, you could put it in the clamp and you could go that way. I tend to pull towards me because, well, it's a hook blade, and unless you really got your hands in the way, you're not going to get anything. But the idea here is, and so that I can show you this way, is it's not like this so much as it is like this. All right, and the reason why is on graphite. Graphite's painted, so if you come at it, perpendicular to it, you're going to leave a line all the way up and down the shaft. If you lay it to the side, you just get started and you pull down there, and then you can get it without scraping the shaft. There's your tip for the day. Then you need a way to heat it up. Now you got the tape underneath, right? So you need a couple items to heat it up. Well, one of a couple of items. Either a hot air gun. All right, I have a hot air gun, one in each station. Or you could use the propane torch, butane torch. You just don't want to catch everything on fire, but you get it warmed up. And what that does is it activates the glue that's on the tape. It makes it pliable, less sticky, or easier to pull, right? So as you've made your line down there, you pull the tape back, and voila, it comes off. And then when you're done, you just make sure you've got all the bits and pieces of the tape, and it's just pulling your hand, and there you've got it. So there you go. That's putting them on is the important part, but you got to be able to set up your project in order to be able to work it the right way the first time. So there's gripping. It's probably one of the most important things you can do, one of the simplest things you can do in order to have your clubs work good for you. So hopefully you like it. Make sure you put some, if you got any comments, put them down there in the show notes, and let's see your scores go low. There's 14 rubber bands on this stuff. All right, Bob. All right, now the align is, it's not an egg shape. It's just what they've... Hey, stop it.
Quiet on the set.
That's right, quiet. Say, Mom, give me my stuff.